apply application.
Okay.
So, Jeff Gee and Tracy Rich are here, and John Paul Garcia, the consulting engineer, is also here.
All right, so I guess we need to go through the official, this is the Zoning Board of Appeals. It's 14 February 2022. We're starting late because of technical difficulties. It's now 7:45. Which board members will be sitting?
Your full board members are all here, so that's Sean, Robert, you, Cindy, and Celia.
Okay, terrific. So let's have all the full board members listen. And so now we can have the application presented to us, please.
What?
Can, John, can you state your name and
Chris, can I share the screen, please?
I just gave it to you.
Okay. Let's see. All right. For the record, my name is John Paul Garcia. I'm a licensed professional engineer and land surveyor, licensed to practice in the state of Connecticut. Office at 190 Fairwood Road, the town of Bethany. I'm here representing Tracy Whitrick and Jeff Gee in the matter of a variance for their house at 1180 Johnson Road. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
I have a 30,000 square foot lot on the west side of Johnson Road, just south of Manville, just north of Ansonia Road. The house was built in the 1940s. It is a two-story single-family house, and it has an attached garage on the right side. This picture, can everybody see the picture?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
This is a picture of what the house looks like from the street. You can see the garage, you can see the house. They would like to tear the garage down and put up a new garage. The reason being, the old garage is substandard. You can barely get a car into it. It's only 19 feet wide, swing doors, and so you only have about an 8-foot or 7.5-foot wide opening to get a car through. And in order to get a car through, it's a real problem. So the interesting thing is the fact that the house is already over the setback line. The house or the garage is approximately 22.8 feet from the side yard. And so we're looking for an additional 4 feet to make a total variance of 7 feet, but to just increase the amount of overage by 4 feet. Here's what 4 feet looks like. If you look at the front of the house, this is what the 4 feet would look like. It doesn't materially change anything, but it allows them to tear down this garage and build a new garage in conformance with all applicable codes, and allows them to get 2 cars in. And that's the bottom line. It's very simple. This is relatively straightforward. And as part of the record, you should have a letter from the person that lives at this house, which I think is 1182, who has no objections to this application. They don't object to the variance. And I think that's
letter was
basically it.
emailed out to all, excuse me, all of you, along with the authorization to let John Paul act as an agent.
Yes.
The reason we want to build it here, tear it down and build it here, is for a number of reasons, not the least of which, you have the septic system in front, the well is in back, and there's really no way to make this garage work as a side loader, say. If we wanted to just increase the depth of the garage and try to do something like that, it doesn't have enough room to the side yard. There's just no way to make a turn here. So it has to be a front loader, and the only logical place to put it is on this side of the house. You put it on this side of the house, you try to put it there, you got to impact the septic system. So that's the reasoning for asking for the variance. They want to build a 23 feet by 25 foot, 5 feet garage. And like I said, right now the garage is 19. and it just doesn't work.
How wide are the current door openings you mentioned before?
They're less than 8 feet. It's a swing door. If you look at the picture,
Yes, I see that. Yeah.
they're swing doors. They're approximately 9.5 feet from the edge of the center. But you've got a 6-inch reveal, and then when you open the doors, you have approximately 3 inches on either side. So instead of having a 9.5 foot wide garage, you've got in effect less than 8 feet, closer to 7.5. And according to Ms. Witterick, she has to actually pull in the mirrors to get the car in the garage. And these
What's a,
are barn doors.
what's a typical size garage? And I mean typical, I don't
Normally
mean,
normally 9 feet wide, 9 to 10 feet wide. And the reason I say it's between 9 and 10 feet wide is because with the advent of SUVs, the normal before that was 8.5 to 9 feet. And once the SUVs about 25 years ago came into impact, then they started going 9.5 to 10 feet. And we've actually done a bunch of 12-footers.
Hmm.
Because with the wide mirrors, if you've got a pickup truck with wide mirrors that don't retract, that's a whole different issue. Plus, these are swing doors. You have to get out of your car and you have to pull the doors open, shovel them out, as opposed to overhead doors. So there's a lot of things that are wrong with this. In the 1940s, this was perfectly acceptable.
That makes perfect sense to me. But I'm just it's like a side note. I mean, as far as sedans go, sedans back then were much larger than sedans now. So I'm not disagreeing with the need for this, but just observationally, that I don't even know if they were able to get a sedan in there back in the 40s and 50s into that garage.
This was a very common design in 1940.
Okay.
You can barely, like I said, Miss Witterick's here if you want to ask her, but she
Yeah.
could barely
No,
get this car
yeah.
in.
I believe it. Yeah.
Plus, the idea is it's also a barn door. It's a swing door. In order to get these things open when there's snow on the ground, it's a nightmare.
Correct. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, that's it. I've got nothing. I can answer questions. We've been through the health department. We have the plan approved for the septic system, which we had to do. And so, if you guys give us the approval, then the Wittericks will get the architect involved and get the design done so they can build it. They don't want to engage an architect until they know this is going to go or not go.
Okay. I mean, it makes sense to me. I mean, the existing driveway is right there, so that makes things a lot easier. You don't have to.
That's what it looks like.
driveway
Here,
Yeah.
When I was a youngster in Milford, we had doors like that years ago, and even then it was very tough getting a vehicle in and out. It was a single car garage, but it was a problem.
Mhm.
So I sympathize with what they're saying about it.
Just a real quick question. You said this current garage is already out of compliance. Is that correct?
yeah, it's 2 feet 2 inches over the line already. Here's the setback line, and here's the line of the existing garage. It's 22.8 feet from the side yard.
So, I mean, for me, one of the problems is that when you're granting variances, you're supposed to reduce to the extent you can reduce noncompliance, whereas this is increasing noncompliance.
I understand that, but that's the reason. The problem we have is we have an existing garage that's non-functional. To reduce that, you would have to take it down and make it a one-car garage, which is not practical. I mean, no one's going to rip a garage down and make it a one-car garage. You're not increasing the front yard. We're only asking for 4 foot on the side, and it doesn't really visually impact how it looks from the street.
No, I understand that. I'm just trying to.
And I understand what you're saying, but like I said, there's not a lot of options here. If we could go deeper, I would probably have suggested to go deeper. But in order to go deeper, you'd have to make this a side loader, and you can't make it a side loader on 22 feet.
No, I understand what you're saying with regard to the side loader. But what is the width of the present garage?
19 feet.
19 feet. So you could make them, so you basically you could make two 9-foot bays in there if you change the doors.
You'd have to take the entire garage apart because you have a support beam here. You have a support beam here. That means you have to completely reframe this to carry this from here to here.
Uh-huh.
Which makes no sense because now you have to rip out the entire header and the entire framing to put in a new support beam. And you still haven't solved the problem.
So by getting rid of those doors that hinge out, that wouldn't provide more room to get in and out of the garage?
No, because you don't have the depth to get a roll-up door in. In other words, a garage door, a overhead door,
Uh-huh.
takes about 2 feet of depth to make it work because it rolls up into the ceiling.
Gotcha.
You don't have 2 feet here.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's why I'm saying you have to completely rip this thing down and raise it to get the height to
Right.
get an overhead door in. And then you have to take this post out. There's a post in here that supports the headers. So you'd have to completely demolish this and then rebuild it in exactly the same manner, which is.
But isn't that what they're proposing, is to rip this down and build another one?
That's correct, but they're proposing to build a modern garage that has a 10-foot wide door, overhead door, as opposed to a.
No, I
7.5
understand.
foot.
But if you tore it down and built it in exactly the same footprint, you could make it taller. Because that's their plan anyway.
But you can't make it wider.
I understand, but if you had an overhead door, you would have enough. You told me that it's 19 feet.
Yes,
All right, so
you would have to put in a single garage door, and I think it would be very difficult to get two 9-foot wide doors in 19 feet because you also have a 1-foot return on the edges for support, and then you have a centerpiece to support the header. If the idea is to make this as minimal as possible, then I would say go down to 22 feet if you want to do that, rather than 23. But anything less than 22, and you're not going to start to get into support issues, and you're not going to start to get into door issues. Because you have to make a return. You have to have at least 8 inches to a foot return on either side, and you have to have some kind of a central post. That's just the way these things are built.
Right, so can I just ask a question? You're making this into a 2-car garage.
No, it's a 2-car garage now.
Right, but you're expanding it to a larger 2-car. You're not trying to make it a large 1-car.
No.
Right. I
That's
just want to clarify that because you're talking about reducing the width. I mean, the purpose of it to have a standard size 2-car garage, not a 2-car garage that you have to. I know the house I'm in, you could hardly get out of the car. I'm telling you, you cannot even get out of the car if you put 2 cars in there. So I appreciate what you're saying. Yeah.
so everybody has to stay on a diet in your house?
Everybody has to come out of the sunroof or something. You can't take the groceries. Let me say this. You cannot take the groceries out of the car inside the garage. So, yeah,
you said
I
that-
appreciate what you're trying to do here. I mean,
And the neighbor to the north is not against it at all, right, John? You said they,
That's correct. You should be a letter in your file,
yes.
neighbor to the north. Now, the fence, nothing changes. Like I said, if this is what 4 feet looks like added to the edge here, and it doesn't materially change what this looks like at all from the street.
So, so Hank, does the does the hardship and the fact that it's becoming more in tune with the modernization, is that enough to offset your concern of the expanding the non-compliant area?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of pointing and not, I'm putting it out there as kind of a philosophical underpinnings of what the zoning board of appeals, not just ours, but any zoning board of appeal is supposed to take as principles.
Right.
And so one of the major principles is to reduce non-compliance, even if you can't make a structure compliant. Reducing non-compliance is one of the guiding principles. And so, and the other thing that's a guiding principle is that that granting of appeals is supposed to be relatively rare. Um, and so I'm kind of coming from that standpoint. Um, I think almost every appeal that we ever heard always has good reasons. And so if we're always going to say, well, there are really good reasons, therefore we should just you know grant everyone a variance. I'm not really sure what function we are providing for the town. um, so it's not that I don't understand it, it's not that I don't appreciate the concern. I'm just not sure what our, if, again, we've done a number of these where we say, well, listen, it's not such a big deal, it doesn't look so bad, the neighbor doesn't mind. It's almost that we rarely say no. And so I wonder what our function is.
Well,
Uh,
it's,
See, I look at it differently. I look at it that they're keeping it in the same framework of the house, the same location. They're
Yeah.
expanding upon the nonconformity within the same somewhat footprint. They're expanding the footprint in the same location. I don't look
Yeah, no,
at it that they're creating a new, you know what I'm saying? So that's
no,
why I look at
listen,
this a little differently.
no, I understand exactly what you're saying, and I agree with your point of view in the sense that we should almost approve anything because if it improves the town, it makes structures safer, better, more livable, then sure, let's just do it. But again, I'm really asking a deeper question of like, well, then what's our function?
Well, I
And
don't think we
and
should approve everything. I don't think
uh,
that's,
No,
yeah.
but they have a relatively untenable situation here if they don't enlarge this, I don't think they can do much, and they really have a bad situation with the narrow garage. They already have it doesn't fit the exact boundary situation now, but I think as John Paul Garcia says, it's not going to change things very much, and it makes it a very practical constructions. I know what you're saying about things, but I don't know what alternative they have here other than just to struggle with an almost unworkable garage.
We should note that this particular lot is undersized. The lots in this particular area all received variances to originally get developed because instead of being 200 feet wide, they're 150 feet wide. So they do come in with an inborn hardship in the sense that
Hmm.
for the area that they're in, they're undersized lots. So it doesn't have as much room to wiggle with to begin with because the lot itself is only 150 feet wide. And then by the time you take your 25 feet on each side, that leaves you with 100 feet in the middle. And with the placement of the septic, the reserve, and the well, it limits it further in terms of where the expansion of the house could go.
oh, good, thank you, Chris. We need that kind of perspective that many of us don't have because we don't live this 24/7. So that's very important perspective.
Yeah, I agree.
Can I say something? And it's my understanding, I'm not an attorney, I'm an engineer. But in doing these things, it's been my understanding all along that, in order to seek a variance, you have to, you have to have a hardship in which strict interpretation of the regulations causes the hardship.
I'm sorry,
I'm not-
what did you say about the hardship?
In other words, you can't ask them, it can't be self-inflicted, it can't be financial. In other words,
Right,
they couldn't have caused the hardship. They didn't put the house here. The house was put here in 1940. As Chris says, it's a subsized lot, it's a substandard lot by current zoning regulation. 30,000 square feet, 150-foot wide, and the house was placed here. It's my understanding that one of the dictates for granting a variance is where strict interpretation of the regulations would cause an undue hardship. And as Chris said, a number of the houses in this area all had to get variances to do anything.
Yeah,
So I
no,
don't think we're asking for something that's
it's not
unique.
causes an undue hardship.
Pardon?
No, it's not something that causes an undue hardship. There's a hardship that needs to be in the land in order to grant it. But I think Chris's point of view and perspective is extremely important as we look at this particular appeal. All right, do you have anything else, John, that you need
No.
to let us know about?
No, I think that's it, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. And Chris, did we have any members of the public who had anything to say, either yay or nay?
No, there's nobody here, but you did receive a letter from the abutting neighbor to the north.
Yes.
Which I emailed to you.
Yep.
Separately, and they specifically said they had no objections to the proposed variance.
Good, thank you. All right, so are there any other questions that any of the members of the board have for John?
None for me.
No, I'm satisfied with what he said.
Okay, so then let's close the appeal. So John, you can certainly stay on while we negotiate and vote. So is there any further questions or discussion from any of the committee members?
No, I'm good.
None for me.
None for me.
No, I don't have anything else to add.
Okay, terrific. All right, that being the case, would someone like to make a motion with regard to this appeal?
Well, I move that we approve this application.
No.
Any seconds?
I'll
I
second it.
se-
Wow, lots of those. Okay, so all in favor of the motion?
I need a reason that you would be granting this.
Okay, so I think the reason is that, as you gave us a perspective, that this was an undersized lot, that there is no place to put this because of the septic system. And
Well,
what's that?
and the well, he
Yeah.
said the well, you know.
Septic system and the well. There are no, so that in order to make this a functional garage, as Cindy said, for a modern home, that those are the reasons that we're going to go ahead and or vote on it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and
Aye.
I will also swayed by the arguments of Cindy and Robert and
We want people to stay in Woodbridge now.
what's that? What's that?
No, cross out, don't put that cross.
I don't know
True
what you said.
statement.
Good.
Statement.
Chris didn't hear
Okay,
me.
so the the appeal is approved, and we'll look forward to seeing what this new garage looks like, John.
Thank you very, very much, people. Have a pleasant evening and please stay healthy. And
So
again,
thank you for presenting, John Paul.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
Ah,
it.
nice seeing you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you all.
Good luck with the new garage.
And good luck with the garage. I'll talk to you tomorrow, Jeff.
Okay, so, do we have minutes left over from the last time we met 4 years ago?
Yes.
I almost forgot what you looked like.
Well, I could put a mask on and make it easier. You know, we now recognize each other just by our eyes.
And boy, eyes tell stories, don't they? I'm gonna abstain when you move the motion on the minutes because I wasn't there. Was excused.
I was, so
Alright.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from, last meeting we had in June.
I wasn't a member then, so I don't feel I should,
Okay, I'll second that.
Celia, I think you were.
Yep. Yeah, I could second it.
Okay, good, thank you. All right, any, so, let's vote on that. Are we gonna accept those minutes from way back then? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, good. The minutes are approved. And now we need another vote in terms of ending our meeting.
So moved.
Oh, there you go.
Wow. Okay, Robert, you're a member, so you can do that if you'd like.
Yes. All right, I move that we end our meeting.
Okay. Oh, we need a second.
I'll second.
All right, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Surprisingly, everyone, it's unanimous. Okay. Good. Excellent. So the meeting ends at 8:12. And we'll see you at the next meeting in 2023.
So Hank, what I
No, you
said
don't.
was we want